what's the name of that? Alright, we're just getting started. I'm setting a few things up here. And we're going to be making an e-commerce app in Flutter. So let's see. Let's just give me a second and we'll get going. Okay. So we're getting closer. Okay. So we're building an e-commerce app today in Flutter. You can see it's part of a Google Code Lab. And that's basically just practice projects that Google puts out, or demo projects that Google puts out, so that people can get introduced and comfortable with using their technology a little bit. And they're overall pretty good, and they're a great way to get into things. So let's see. It says this code lab is the first of 4 code labs that will guide you through building an app called Shrine, an e-commerce app that sells clothing and home goods. So I look kind of at the end of this app, and I don't think it's going to use any backend like Firebase or anything, but I think once we get through these labs, we'll work on getting it actually integrated with Firebase so that you can perhaps implement like a real app with a real backend. And I'm also looking at implementing payments somehow. Like, what kind of facility does Flutter support for payment? I know it supports like in-app billing, I think, but you can only sell digital products using that. So we'll look at like what are some possible integration scenarios. And right now, the first ones are like basically going into native and through what's called a channel, but we're getting way ahead of ourselves. So first thing, in this code lab, you'll build a login page for Shrine that contains an image of Shrine's logo, the name of the app Shrine, 2 text fields, one for any username, password, and so this could easily be like Firebase login here. Hold on, let me change it. So let's go. Okay, sorry. Want to get something a little bit more pumpy. Let's see. Here we go. Let's try some draft feature. Alright, always got to get some good tunes going on. So, the related code labs. This is a 4-series code lab. By the end, you can see this is what it looks. So you have a filter, you have search, You have a hamburger here. Presumably that opens a nav drawer and app title called Shrine. And we're going to end up trying, like I said, trying to get this so that it uses Firebase. So set up your Flutter environment. I'm not going to go through all the steps to set up Flutter. What I will show you is that, let's see where we're at. We're in our Flutter directory. So I've downloaded Flutter. If you want to kind of get an idea of what your Flutter setup is like, you can run. Okay, so I'm not in the right directory here. Here's my actual bin directory for Flutter. You can run Flutter Doctor, and that'll check to see how well your environment is set up. Okay, and so it says our installation of Flutter is 32 days old. To update to the latest version, run Flutter upgrade. So we're going to do that. It's always good, especially when you're working with like new technologies, to kind of make sure your stuff, or fast-moving technologies, I should say. Flutter upgrade. That you keep things up to date. Things change pretty fast, and it also helps to keep things from perhaps you having to do a lot of rework. Okay, so let's see. It looks like it is already up to date. Let's run Flutter Doctor again, make sure everything's sorted. Everything looks good there, and we'll let it do its thing. So to build and run a Flutter app on iOS, you need Mac OS, and build and run on Android, you need Mac OS, Windows, and Linux, or Linux. It mentions the Flutter Doctor command, so we'll go next. And then it asks us to download this project to get started with. So we're going to do that. They're going to start us off with a project. So I basically made a directory, with all my Flutter projects in them. So I'm going to do a git clone inside that. And then it says that it wants us to check out a branch. So we're going to do that. We're going to get, so we're actually going to have to cd into that directory. So what was it called? Material components. And then we'll press up twice, and we'll check out on that directory. It says, hey, your branch is up to date with Origin 101 starter. So code labs, blah, 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 they're consecutive. Create the project in terminal, navigate to Material Components Flutter Code Labs, which I think we're in there. Let's do a pwd, make sure we are in there. Okay, we're in there. And then we're going to run Flutter create MDC series. So I'm assuming that this is the command. I don't have Flutter in my namespace, so it's gonna, that's why it's barfing. So I'm gonna have to basically give the full qualified path to it. I should probably put in my namespace, but we'll do that later. And I guess what it's doing right now is, I don't know what it's doing right now. So let's go over to the Material Components lab, and let's go over to 101 starter, and let's see what the starter code has in it. See, I don't know if this is the beginning or the end of the starter code. We should have checked that earlier. So this basically created some files for us. Maybe the Flutter project itself. Let's see what's in there now. A directory called MDC 100 series, and it's got a basic outline of a Flutter project. So now we can do Flutter run. Again, got to do this. It says, in order to run your application, type Flutter run. Your main program file is lib.main.dart. So it's going to deploy it to Nexus 7 that I have plugged in here in debug mode. Let's go back to our code lab. Probably shouldn't check my email on the internet. That's good. Stop that. So then it says navigate and click open. The project should open. In the project pane on the left, delete the testing file. So we're going to open up our Android Studio over here while this is running. Hopefully it doesn't break anything. And we're going to carry on following the instructions. So it says if you navigate to this directory and click open, the project should open. Okay, it wants us to open Android Studio first, so we're going to do that. So let's do that. Okay. Just keep going here. Keep going. My Android Studio is opening. It's still opening, so it's taking a little bit of time. And hopefully it doesn't. Okay, so it opens up another Flutter project I'm working on. And so we're going to open up the project that we're actually watching, or that we're actually trying to work on, that we just checked out. So let's do that. I'm on an older laptop, so it takes a little bit more time. But I like it because it has all the ports that I like without dongles. I'm not a fan of that dongle. I know Apple appears to be. It's probably pretty profitable for them. That's good for them. All right, so this other project's opening. And the first thing it wants us to do, I'm going to make some space so we can read things while we're doing things. The first thing it wants us to do here is to delete test widget tests. So let's go to our test directory and let's just nuke that. Delete. Okay. And you know what? I forked this repo. I should have done this on my own repo so that I can push all these changes that I'm doing to my own repo. Oh, boo this. So let me do that real quick. I'm just going to change this to my own repo. Hopefully it doesn't mess up anything else. So, git remote remove origin. And so let's add our origin. And of course this won't work the first time, it never does. And then let's check out a branch, and let's say code lab 1. And then let's add everything. Git commit, initial commit. Git push, it's going to say set upstream. Okay, so we can do that. Whoa! I didn't realize you could do that in one click. That's beautiful. That was an accident. And so now we've got this new branch in our fork. It wouldn't let us. You know what? I freaking pushed to the wrong fork here. Son of a gun, man! I'm making all kinds of mistakes here today. Let me go. Let me push to the right fork. This is the fork we want. So let's go through this again. Let's remove. Let's add origin. Please paste, add. Push. Okay, so now we should see a branch on our actual material components fork, and this allows us to keep our own kind of copy of things going on over here. So, looks like they've got a pretty simple structure set up here first. So let's go back to the code lab. So we deleted that. It prompted install any plug for, run the starter app. So I'm going to run it in a simulator. We'll run it in iOS today. For now, maybe we'll switch over to Android later. They ask you to run it in AVD or iOS simulator. And look, it said if we can get this, then it worked. So let's see, simulator is booting up. So while it's booting up, let's go read some more. If you see any warnings about the pub spec, just leave them alone. Flutter packages gets, installs your dependencies. Okay, and then it says open up login.dart. So we're going to press Shift, go to login.dart. And it says, whoa, look at all these to-dos. It says it should contain this. Then it does. It looks like we've got a login page state. Extend state login page. And that's got one widget. That's a scaffold safe area. It's got a list view that has a child, a widget, an array of widgets, which is really just a diamond, and then a size box, which is just another empty space with a height of 120, or another box in there that's part of the, it's actually outside, no, it's part of the widget array. And then we've got a whole bunch of to-dos here. Okay. You can see inside this widget here, it's got an image asset, a size box of 16. That's to help put some spacing. You could also create a padding widget. And then we've got some text here, which is shrine in all caps. And it contains, they said, notice it contains an import. So it includes an import of material.dart, so that's probably some material components. That is. The login page represents the entire page displayed in the simulator. The login page state classes build function controls how all the widgets in our UI are created. So hopefully, okay, our simulator, nope, stop that. Oh man, we wanted to do the simulator, so hopefully we can deploy the simulator. Because we already deployed to the Nexus 7. I might even unplug it. I like it here because it's my friend. It worked on the Nexus 7, so it already built and deployed on the Nexus 7. Okay. Hopefully it'll build on the iPhone X. It's still going through all the dependencies. Okay. Waiting for another Flutter command to release the startup block. So you know what? Let me kill this. Can I kill this tab? Yeah, I can. So let's terminate that one. Let's go back to this one. And actually, let's kill the. Okay, so now we can get to basically our iOS build. Sorry, it's taking so long. My music stopped. Wow, this is taking a while. Let me check the monitor, see what's going on here. I know what you're thinking, buy a new computer. Maybe. Probably not. So our CPU is about maxed out here. That's okay. While this is building, let's just go on to the next step. You can trust me that it worked on the Nexus 7. We'll let it do its thing. Alright, so to begin, we'll add 2 text fields to our login page where users enter their username and password. We'll use a text field widget. So on Android, this would be like an edit text or an input layout, so wrapping an edit text, which displays a floating label, so and activates a touch ripple. So they basically made the combined widget that you have in Android into one widget. Okay, the page is structured primarily with a list view. So here we're using a list view not to display like a bunch of similar items in a list, but to just display some various widgets in a list and use it as kind of like a structure. So let's add two new text fields in a spacer. So where is 101 here? So 101 is right here. And it actually has us to doing this. Wait. So it wants us to place them at the bottom. Okay, so here's where it wants us to place them. So we're going to copy and paste this code, and then we'll talk about what it does. So here's where it says to do. We're going to copy over that right here, and we've basically got a text field with some input decoration. Filled equals true, label text equals username, size box, that's basically another spacer of height 12, and then another input text field with input decoration. Field equals true, label text equals password, and the label text here equals username. So that's probably what's going to be inside the field before the user taps on it, and then it's going to go right above the input to give the user basically the indicator of what the field is that they're completing. And you can see we've got a flag here, or field set to obscure text equals true for our password field. Okay, so that's going to replace the text. Save your project, which performs a hot reload. So we are still waiting on, okay, so let's try this hot reload. If we press save, will these 2 new fields show up in our Shrine project? On our Shrine simulator. Let's try. I press save. It says syncing files to device iPhone X. So let's see. And I'm going to unplug the Nexus 7 so we don't have to contend with it trying to build. Flutter sports hot reload. So it's still figuring it out. So you should now see a page with 2 text fields. Check out the floating label and ink ripple animations. Wow. Let's check it out. Hopefully it'll build and we'll get that. You know what? What does this button do? Flutter hot reload. Initializing hot reload. So the save didn't do it. Okay, so we had to automatically click, but let's try it out. Let's see. My username is Darren. Ooh, and it auto capitalized. I didn't do that. Yep. First, and then our password. I'm gonna put in my super secret password. Okay. Hopefully you guys didn't get that. If the app doesn't update, click play button again, or click stop followed by play. Okay, so apparently they're not even that super confident with their hot reload. Text field features include the text field widget's look can easily be changed. For the decoration field, specify an input decoration. Okay, so we already did that. The MDC text field displays touch feedback, called the MDC ripple or ink by default. The form field is a similar widget that has special features for embedding fields in forms. And it's got a link to some documentation for this text field widget that we just used. Calls on change callback, so it looks like it's got some callbacks built in. And it's got an on submitted callback. Nice. Okay, so let's add some buttons here. Next, we'll add 2 buttons to our login page called Cancel and Next. We'll use 2 kinds of MDC button widgets, the flat button, called the text button, and the raise button, referred to the contain button. So flat button is right here, and I guess our raise button is this one the next. Choosing between text and contained buttons. Okay, so it says they use the raise button to give it prominence. So after the text fields, add the button bar to the list views children. So let's do this. Add the button bar. So we've got a button bar. And then I guess that's a bar full of buttons. So I guess this area right here is a button bar. And then now we got to add our buttons. So let's get our flat button and our raise button here, and they're going to be inside this children field. That's an array of widgets. And you know what? Let's do a hot reload. See what we're looking at here. Whoa! Wow! So we got stuff just coming out the woodwork. We're banging through stuff. Why do we have empty blocks for the on-press fields? If we pass null or didn't include the field, the buttons would become disabled. Okay, so they have some built-in logic where if you don't have on-pressed in your button, it just disables it. It disables it. Save your project under the last text field. You should now see. So we've already seen this. Grace Hopper. The button bar handles the layout work for you. It positions the buttons horizontally so they appear next to one another according to the padding in the current button theme. So we're getting some stuff out of the box here. You know, we just put these buttons in a button bar, and we've already got this padding built in, and we've got padding on both sides, so we didn't have to put those size box widgets in here. Okay, so add text editing controllers, to make it possible to clear the text field's values. We'll add text editing controllers to control their text. Where's my giraffage? Computer's so slow, wouldn't let me play music. How rough is that? Okay. To make it possible to clear the text field's values, so right under the login page state class declaration, add the controllers as final variables. So let's do that. So we're having a controller for both the input, and we've got our little to-do here. We're going to paste over. We've got one for username and one for password. On the first text field's controller field, set the username controller. So we're going to go to our text field for the username. We want to make sure to get this comma at the end because Flutter's very specific about keeping the commas to separate fields. Think of it as like named parameters in Kotlin. But here's the thing, is named parameters a real thing in Kotlin? Let's see. Named arguments. There you go. By the way, DuckDuckGo is awesome. So just a little shout out to DuckDuckGo. I'm a big fan of Google, but I'm a big fan of DuckDuckGo for search. So edit on pressed. Add a command to clear each controller in the flat button's on press function. So that's the cancel button here. So we're going to take the controllers that we've set on these text fields, and when they press cancel, we're going to clear. So you know what? Is that true? Let's see if that's true. Let's get our simulator open. I don't think it hot reloaded. Oh, it did. So look, you could have Darren in here, and now it didn't even automatically. Nah, it did this time. And tab's not working. By the way, tab is just putting spaces in these, so that's a little bit of weirdness. And then cancel, and our input controller basically clears the forms, clears the fields. Save your project. Now when you type sum, the text field, blah, blah, blah. To dismiss this view, we want to pop or remove this page, which Flutter calls a route, off the navigation stack. Navigator maintains a stack of routes, just like UI Navigation Controller on iOS. Pushing a route places it at the top of the stack. Copying the stack removes the most recently added route. In app.dart of our app, call initial route login. So where is app.dart? Whoa. So we got a lot of stuff going on here. Where does it want us to put this? We're in app.dart. Okay. So it's probably already here. Okay, so it's already here. So our app is a stateless widget. It has no state. And then it already has an initial thing called homepage. So if we click into that, I guess that's the home. But the initial route is actually login, which is where we were at. So this is really kind of like a web construct, or the closest you might have to this in Android are deep links, or perhaps instant apps kind of follow a similar thing. Again, based off deep links. So in the raise buttons on press function, pop the most recent route from the navigator. So let's go grab this. Let's go back to our next button. Let's put this stuff in here. Ooh, this is good. This is some good stuff right here. Gold Panda Reprise. I'll give this a little thumbs up. Sorry about that. That's it. Save the project. Go ahead and click Next. You know what? Let's get our emulator up here and let's save it. Let's see what happens. We press Next. So we have no field validation. This context comes from the context passed in here to our widget. And while this is saving, I'm going to do a little commit here. Is that what they're called? They're called onPressed. What do they call them in here? And they call them onPressed. Alright. Oh man, so I missed out on what it did. So this should go to say you did it. Okay, it does. So the screen is starting. This screen is the starting point for our next code lab, which you'll work on in MDC 102. Okay, so if you didn't want to do that, you could start out with 102 starter and 101 complete. So let's hit done. I wonder if it's going to drop us into 102. That'd be too useful. Should hit a drop down here in a second once everything loads. So let's hit up 102 here. Let's close some of the windows we have open. You can see we're getting our code in here. We've got our code lab 1. Let's get on our code lab 1 branch. Let's see if we got our commit history here. We do. Beautiful. So we're in 102. So I'm going to take a quick break and get something to drink, and I'll be right back. Give me a sec. Push notifications coming in. Okay, so let's get started off on 102. You guys ready for this? By the way, if you're really into like learning Android, Caster.io is a great resource, and they've got a clean architecture course that's for free right now. It's for free for the rest of the day. I think it ends on July 1st, which is tomorrow. So I would recommend checking it out. I'm going to check it out later on. Okay, so let's get back on 102. It says that this will take us 14 minutes. So hopefully. Material components help developers implement material design. Great. That's great. So in this code lab, you'll build a home screen for an app called Shrine, an e-commerce app that sells clothing and home goods. It will contain a top app bar. That's what this is, an app bar, and a grid list full of products. This is a grid list, and you can see we probably have some cards in here, some images, and some text widgets. So I gotta press next. Ooh, this sounds good. Alright. Did I thumbs up this? I thumbs up that. Okay, so this is the second of 4 code labs. I've got a Topo Chico here that's practically frozen. Hopefully it's going to not explode. It won't explode. It's already starting to explode. It's under so much pressure that if I open it, the water is going to start. There's actually air underneath a piece of ice that's formed. It's a carbonation. So let me just, hopefully this doesn't explode. It's already starting to explode and leak on me. It's only water. Okay. It's pretty refreshing. I like water. Okay. So that's enough of that crap. So MVC components in this code lab: top app bar, grids, cards. So it goes through, hey, you're going to need this stuff. We already got this stuff. Okay. Run Flutter Doctor. We already did that. Run this, do that, do this, do that. Okay. Done. Excuse me. Home screens are revealed when the login page is dismissed. That's great, but now our user has no actions to take. Navigation refers to components, interactions, visual cues, and information architecture that enable users to move through an app. You may know the top app bar is a navigation bar in iOS, or something is an app bar or header. To provide navigation and give users quick access to other actions, let's add a top app bar. I love it. Let's do it. In home.dart, add an app bar to the scaffold. So let's go to home.dart. I'll close the inspector. We're going to add, where's our scaffold? Here's our scaffold. So let's add an app bar. So if everything went right, when we press save here, we should end up with an app bar. Boom, we just got our app bar. Adding the app bar to the scaffold's app bar. Save the project. Now add a text widget. So inside our text widget, we're going to add wait. Yeah, we're in our app bar. So I have a feeling that this is going to put a title in our app bar. Boom, and it did. One cool thing Flutter gives you out of the box is on iOS, this app bar title will be centered. On Android, it'll be left aligned. They hint at like maybe making this part of the web. We'll have to see. So then, let's add the buttons. So we're going to add a menu button here. That's pretty exciting. So let's add our menu button. And I think this is going to be the code that we need. Hopefully, we'll find out pretty soon. So I'm going to add it after our title. And nothing started going really crazy, so it looks like that worked. Let's save it, and then hopefully... Okay, so they call that a menu button. And you can see we've got a little icon here of what's displayed. And I'm going to use a piece of ice emoji. Okay, so I got to give another thumbs up. It's already thumbs up. Okay, the menu icon, also known as a hamburger, shows up right where you expect. The icon button class is a convenient way to incorporate material icons in your app. It takes an icon widget. Okay, so our icon button takes an icon widget. And it looks like we have an on-press action for that. So let's add an action here. So we're gonna add two actions. So let's add some actions. There's room for two more icon, and we're gonna add them after the title. So there we go. Look, we get these kind of icons that we're getting out of the icons. These are all built into Flutter, so you can see we get a lot of. And I just froze my computer trying to scroll through that. So we'll go back. Did we get that in our emulator? Boom, we did. We've got a little ripple there. They call that inkwell. And supposedly it's printing stuff. So look, they implemented these on-press fields to print the button that you're clicking. And they work, so that's great. Now the app has a leading button, a title, and two actions. So actions go on the right. So let's press next. Scroll to the top. Cards are independent elements that display content and actions on a single subject. They're a flexible way to present similar content as a collection. Learn more about cards in the cards article of the material guidelines. So I'm going to leave that to you all to read. I'm sure it's fascinating, but you know, we're gonna do that later because reading an article is probably not going to be very interesting. So let's start by adding one card underneath the top app bar. The card which alone doesn't have enough information to lay itself out. So we'll want to encapsulate a grid view widget. So let's grab our body element, which we already had a body element, but we'll override it. So, you know what? Let's see if we press save here, if we'll get that card element right away. Oh, we've got an issue, because I didn't do this. And now if we do this, it should work. So hot reload caches itself, and if you have an issue with your code, it won't attempt a hot reload. I've seen it do it before, but it looks like it's getting a little bit smarter. The cross axis count, so let's read this because I need to know this. Specifies how many items across. We want 2 columns, so okay. Cross axis in Flutter means a non-scrolling axis. The scrolling direction is the main axis. The padding field provides space on all 4 sides of the grid view. So this is the aspect ratio, width over height. So it's going to be taller than it is wider, or wide. The grid view calculates each child width as follows. Width of the entire grid, minus left padding, minus right padding, divided by number of columns. So we have width of the entire grid, minus 16, padding, 2 columns. The height is calculated. Width, okay, so it gets the width first, and then it determines the height. Multiplies it times 9 over 8. Okay, so lay out the contents. Cards should have regions for an image, title, and a secondary text. So apparently in grid view, it automatically does the cards if you just, I guess, build a grid of cards. If you just specify it like this. So that's kind of cool. So let's do that. Let's copy this. And you can't delete these comments. These are, maybe there's a setting, but these are put in here by the IDE to tell you where you are at in your tree, your widget tree. Or else it might get hard to follow, you know, like, oh, what is this? You know, do I need another, you know, parenthesis or bracket? So here we've got our children. So let's look at, like, our child is a diamond. And then we've got padding on each child, which from LTRB, that's interesting. And then inside that we've got a child, which is a column, which basically is going to lay out things kind of like a linear layout with a vertical orientation. And we set the alignment, so cross-axis alignment is going to be like left and right. And I think this sense, because it's a column, and the scrolling direction in the column is normally up and down. And then the column's going to have 3 children, so you can think of these like 3 widgets inside your linear layout. And it's going to be a text, a size box, which is just basically the way that they're doing padding and padding in columns and stuff, and widget arrays in Flutter, and then another text, secondary text. So let's get our emulator up and let's save this and let's see what we get. Hopefully it builds. And there we go. Now, it looks weird with this diamond up here, but when it's an image, it'll actually look better in the card. So let's go next. Does ours look like that? A little bit. Yeah, it's got that. So you can see our 16 BP alignment is matching up with on the grid view is lining up with our hamburger icon, so everything's looking clean. So let's press next to make a card collection. Whoa. Whenever multiple cards are present in a screen, they are grouped together into one or more collections. Cards in a collection are coplanar, meaning cards share the same resting elevation as one another, unless the cards are picked up or dragged, but we won't be doing that here. Right now our card is constructed in line in the children field of the grid view. That's a lot of nested code that can be hard to read. Let's extract in a function that can generate as many cards as we want and return a list of cards. Make a new private function after the build function. Remember that function starting with an underscore our private API. Okay, so to do, make a list of cards. So we're going to create a little function here. And hopefully, here we go. So we're going to overwrite this with our private function. And we can see that it's going to take an account, and then it's going to generate a list based on the count. And then, where does it use index in here? It doesn't use it, but we'll probably use it later. Assign the generated cards to grid view's children field. So we're going to basically take the one card that we had specified as its child, or as its children, and we're going to find out where the end of this is. So instead of this widget array, we're going to just do build grid cards, and I've noticed that autocomplete takes a little bit longer in the IDE with Flutter. It's not as like snappy as on an Android project. Let's press save, and if everything went right, boom, we got 10 cards. We'll just scroll, boom, we got some scroll, and look, we got that over scroll kind of bouncy stuff that iOS loves. So add product data. So we're going to import some stuff. So international.dart, that helps with date time stuff. I think it also helps with currency. I'm imagining that's what they're going to put in. That's what they're going to use out of it here. It's going to say, oh, this is unused import. So now we need to make a collection of cards, and we're going to replace the entire method with this method here, which is doing a lot of fancy stuff. So let's put it in here, and then let's read through it, see what's going on. And hopefully, you know what, I'm going to make sure my Android Studio is in colorblind mode, because yeah, so it is. So that's why I've kind of got these weird colors, which help me view the colors. So we're going to build grid cards. We're going to take a context. We're actually going to get products, category all. So, okay, so we basically imported a data.dart, basically a data class, which for a category, it's going to return product objects. So we have all products here. And then I wonder if we have something that, so category equals category all, we return all products. If not, we basically return a list where the category equals the category we're looking for. So you can see all our data here is static. This would be really awesome if it was attached to backend. Then we could probably play around with it a little bit more and wouldn't have to ship a new app to add products. But for demonstration purposes, this is amazing. You can see they've changed the widget up here. So now the aspect ratio is 18:11. They're grabbing the image asset from the product class. The package, they're setting, I don't know what package is. So let's click in and let's see what package is. Is there a specification here? Assets used by the package itself should also be displayed using the package argument as above. So we'll look and see what package. Maybe it'll explain what package it is. And then we've got an expanded, which is basically something that takes up the entire rest of the area. So we've got basically a child that's an aspect ratio that contains an image. We've got an expanded, which is inside a padding child, and inside that child we've got a column, which has a widget that's got basically a widget array that's got a text, which is going to be the title. And we're getting in our style from the theme, max lines 1, so it's going to wrap or probably do ellipses. And then we've got a formatter here, so that's probably coming from our international package. That's why so we've got a number format. So where did our formatter come from, though? Okay, so we've got a number formatter for basically our localization. Static methods in Flutter, or in my IDE, are labeled as bright yellow. Or banana yellow, I should say. So we've got some new stuff in here. Our project's not building, so let's see what our issues are. Okay. So we've changed our method, and now we need to do like category.all. What does it take here? It takes a build context. So then that means I think we need to do this. So it's happy now. Okay, so it says we need to do that. Does it say anything about package in here? Let's see. Not this. Well, okay, so our children have aspect ratios, and then we have an aspect ratio widget. which is basically, I guess, to size the image the way that we like it. So let's save our project. Let's make sure this worked. That's looking good, guys. That's looking good, guys and girls. It's a little stuttery, but we're in a debug build, and I'm running a ton of stuff on my computer right now. There's something in here that says succulent. Was that a plant? Or I guess these are all close. Alright, so the product data shows up, but the images have extra space around them. The images are drawn with a box fit of scale down by default in this case. Let's change it to fit width. Excuse me. So let's go to our image asset. Let's add it. Positional arguments must occur before named arguments. Okay, so maybe if we put it at the end. And then let's open this up. You can see our images are all a little bit, they're not fitting width. Ooh, nice. And we're done with CodeLab 2. So when we finish something, we commit it. So we just edited one file, so let's do like implement product cards. And then whoa, let's push it. Push it. How do you actually listen to lyrics? Where'd the lyrics go? So let's press done. And of course it takes us just there. Did we get our commit in here? We did. I'm going to take a quick break here. Look at my phone. It's 8:13. Let's see what the pool's like. The pool was showing up as not being as crowded today, but when I rode by it both times, it looked packed. I had it cleaned up for today, but yeah, the pool is more busy than normal. All right. So, whoa, let's go to 103. Ooh, Big Wild's coming to Stubbs on July 7th. I like Big Wild. I bet he throws a good show, but let's see. Is there any Big Wild on 101? Big Wild 1001 practice. Ooh, there is. Let's see what Big Wild's live sets are like. Might have to go see. 100 waters. That, oh man, I love this version. When did he? This is from 2015. So that's an older one of his sets. When's this from? Jan 17. So this is a newer one. So let's check it out. Right. So let's go. Let's check out 103. Material components. So basically this one is going to be styling. So we're going to work on color, topography, typography, elevation, shape, and layout. So if we look at our current, I don't know, how do you close an app in iOS? Why is everything so hard in iOS? I just want to close this. How do I close it? So I can launch it again. Go to the login screen. How do I go to the login screen? I thought if I did this, it would open up the recents. Do I scroll from the bottom? Do I scroll down? Damn it, iOS. So anyways, we've already done this. We've already downloaded the starter app. So create colors.dart. So we're going to go to lib and we're going to create colors.dart. I guess it's just a file. Okay. Then we're going to import material. Why do we need that? I don't know why we need the material package. I guess we get color from it. Do we get color from material? No, we get that from UI. Maybe we get some of these. I don't know. I don't know why we get. Maybe colors.white comes from material. Yeah, it does. Okay. So we basically import an entire package just to get the color white. So let's see. Whoa, what's going on here? So if we press save, are we going to get things automatically updated? Or do we need to apply stuff first? Maybe we got to apply stuff first. So, okay. So I don't understand all this stuff, but that's okay. I don't understand colors. Well, now that we have the colors we want to use, we can apply them to UI. We'll do this by setting the values of a theme data widget that we apply to the material app instance at the top of our widget hierarchy. Okay, customize theme data.light. Flutter includes a few built-in themes. The light theme is one of them. Rather than making a theme data widget from scratch, we'll copy the light theme and change the values to customize the theme for our app. So we'll call copy with on the default light theme data and then pass in some custom property values. Copy width is a common method you'll find on many classes and widgets in Flutter. This command returns an instance of the widget that matches the instance it's called on, but with the specified values replaced. So let's import colors.dart. I'm assuming that we're in our main, or okay, we're in our Shrine app class. So let's build Shrine theme. So where is our, did they give us a method here, or do we have to add that? Okay, so we have to add it. Build Shrine theme. So I guess we can just specify this freaking variable here for a field. So it's saying we get the theme data, light theme, and then we copy it by changing out these colors. And if you're from Android development, these are going to seem familiar. Accent color, primary color, button color, scaffold background color. So this means, I think if we press save now, we should see the app change pretty significantly from a color standpoint. Oh, we never apply the theme anymore. So where do we apply the theme here? Now set the theme at the end of the Shrine's app's build function. Okay, so where's our material app build function? What is get route? If settings.name does not equal login, what the heck does that mean? I'm so confused. What is this? Oh wow, look, our app is themed now. Wow. Okay. So let's click the play button. I want to reload this app because I want to stop it and reload it. Stop it. I might have to go see a Big Wild Show. Look, he put some Fleetwood Mac in here. Gigamesh. He's known for remixing basically. I guess he's not known for it, but I know him from remixing kind of older classics. So you can see Big Wild, he kind of gets, even though he does some electro stuff, he gets all around. I'm looking forward to the rest of this mix. Got some pretty lights in here. One day they'll know. Good tune. Okay, hurry up, iPhone X. Launching lib main darn on iPhone X. Let's go, dude. Things taking freaking forever. What's the weather like here? '89, finally getting a little bit cooler. I guess it'll never build. So we're going to go, it takes a while the first time because we've got a bunch of stuff going on. My computer's about to self-destruct. So let's go to the next one. Click the play button, but I really wanted to see what the login screen looked like. So let's go. I really like this method of like defining your colors. This is kind of the same as colors.xml in Android. And then basically setting an app-wide theme here. You know, at the app level. Do we have our app launched yet? No, we don't. Okay. Starting Xcode build. Alright, so let's go on. Actually, I've been recording for, what, an hour and 10 minutes? I'm going to take a break and we'll finish up the rest of this app a little later. Thank you everyone for watching.